Brick, 2005 movie written and directed by Rian Johnson, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's Johnson's first film ever before he went on to make movies like Looper, The Last Jedi, and Knives Out very recently. And it's kind of interesting to see where he was coming from with those future movies after knowing, is his background in the first film. Brick is an indie, low budget film noir set around an underground high school drug ring. Joseph Gordon Levitt plays Brandon, who in the opening sequence finds the dead body of his former girlfriend. We then go back 2 days in time and see how, when she was still alive, she contacted him out of the blue with a cryptic message, sort of cry for help, before disappearing off the grid. We then watch Brandon search for her amidst the various players of a drug ring that the girl was somehow involved with. So, in terms of inspirations, Brick is a mix of, according to Johnson himself, is a mix of Cowboy Bebop and Maltese Falcon. I personally also saw traces of Twin Peaks and Donnie Darko in it. There is on the one hand that mystery detective angle going on with Brandon searching for clues, but there is also a fair amount of that thick, uneasy atmosphere and odd characters that seem almost out of this world. The main ones are all drawn in very broad strokes, deliberately exaggerated and almost parodying themselves at some points. I think that atmosphere is one of the key strengths of the film. An intelligent, well-constructed script is brought to life through inventive cinematography and editing that not only helps cover the limitations of the budget and the inexperience of the crew, but it's actually fairly creative and well done, especially when it comes to transitions between scenes. I think Johnson manages to do quite a lot with not many tools in that respect. Also, another thing that helps build the atmosphere is a soundtrack, kind of jazzy, kind of alternative. Really enjoyed that aspect as well. And apparently, all of those things were enough to make the film a sort of an indie darling, liked by critics around the world. However, I did have two problems with it. First one was strictly technical and has to do with sound mixing. I thought that the dialogue was too fast and too quiet, and in certain scenes it was difficult to follow it with the overwhelming sounds of the environment. It just wasn't loud enough. It was hard to make out what the characters were saying, and that's, it's not very good. Second issue has to do more with the story itself. See, on paper, it's, as I said, well constructed, thought out, and engaging. But while it tries to be pretty serious and somber in terms of its themes and events, I mean, there's murder and drugs and violence, it comes off weird when the characters are all high school aged. I mean, I look at those actors, and my first thought is that those are clearly kids. And I found it difficult to buy into the idea that those kids are involved in an intrigue that is so adult and serious. I just couldn't buy it. Maybe it's a cultural difference. Maybe in California, young people like that are actually more commonly involved in crime. But for me, it was something that took me away from the film. It took me out of it. I couldn't really suspend my disbelief to fully immerse myself in the twists and turns of the script. And I guess this is that deciding point where this is what the movie's judgment will come down to on an individual basis. If you enjoy solid mystery thrillers and can accept that fact that the characters are so extremely young, if you can buy into that, then I think you'll enjoy Brick very, very much. Otherwise, it still is a decent film, but for me personally, the disconnect between the age of the cast and seriousness of the plot prevents it from being truly great.